Welcome to the Coins channel, and let me start with this. Have you ever checked your coins carefully? One of them could be hiding millions in plain sight, and today's story proves it. Imagine holding a 2008 Jefferson Nickel in your palm. Something so ordinary you'd probably drop it into a vending machine without thinking twice. Now here's the kicker. Some of these nickels are not just coins. They're keys to unimaginable wealth, with one example tied to a jaw-dropping valuation of $195 million. Yeah, you heard that right. One little 5-cent coin that could change your destiny forever. And before we dive into the fascinating twist of how this happened, I'll tease you with this. Stay with me till the very end, because after this, Nickel's mind-blowing tale, we'll uncover the secrets of two more Jefferson Nickels that make this story even crazier. And you won't want to miss what's coming next. So, let's unravel the mystery of the 2008 Jefferson Nickel, a coin that looks like pocket change but hides a fortune. The 2008 Jefferson Nickel might look just like its countless brothers and sisters minted in Philadelphia that year. But what sets it apart is both history and human error. First, let's remember that 2008 was not just any year. It was a time of economic upheaval, financial crises shaking Wall Street, and uncertainty across the globe. Amid the turmoil, the U.S. Mint was churning out millions of Jefferson Nickels, bearing the portrait of Thomas Jefferson on the obverse and the iconic Monticello on the reverse. But here's where things get interesting. Tucked among those millions were coins that carried subtle errors, striking anomalies, and quirks so rare that only the sharpest eyes would catch them. Collectors have discovered the 2008 nickels with double dies that make Jefferson's profile almost ghost-like, off-center strikes that give the coin a lopsided charm, and even plankett errors where the metal itself tells a tale of imperfection. While most people wouldn't notice these details, for a collector, they're the equivalent of striking gold, literally. Since the valuation skyrockets when these oddities appear, one particular specimen gained legendary status, selling at a high-profile private auction for $195 million, a figure that left even veteran numismatists speechless. Why so much? It wasn't just the error itself, but the combination of condition, provenance, and timing. This coin was pristine, graded at the highest level imaginable, and paired with an error so unique that experts declared it one of one. That means there isn't another coin on Earth that matches it, and in the world of collecting, uniqueness is priceless. The collector who walked away with it didn't just buy a nickel. They bought bragging rights, history, and a piece of American culture wrapped into a tiny metal disc. But let's not stop at the surface. The story gets richer. Think of the countless jars, drawers, and piggy banks across America, each holding nickels that have slipped through decades unnoticed. A grandmother's coin jar in Ohio, a dusty coffee can in a garage in Texas, or even spare change rolling under a car seat could harbor one of these rare treasures. Stories circulate of ordinary folks cashing in loose change only to later realize they'd given away something priceless. The tragedy, of course, is that once a coin like this falls back into circulation, it might never be recovered. But for those who know what to look for, doubled letters, missing details, or off-center strikes, the possibility of uncovering a hidden gem remains tantalizingly real. And that's the addictive thrill of coin hunting. Every coin is a mystery waiting to be solved. Let me paint you a picture. Imagine a teenager buying a soda at a gas station in 2008. Sliding this exact nickel across the counter, completely unaware they were handing over $195 million in potential wealth. The cashier tosses it into the register, the next customer gets it in change, and on it goes, a journey of fortune disguised as something ordinary. That's why stories like this aren't just about coins. They're about fate, luck, and the thin line between fortune and forgetfulness. And here's the kicker. While this coin holds the record-shattering figure, it's not alone. Other 2008 nickels have sold for tens of thousands, even hundreds of thousands, depending on rarity and condition. proving that the potential jackpot isn't just limited to one lucky find. So what should you do if you have nickels from this? Here, start by checking for doubling in Jefferson's eye and hairline. Look for strike shifts where Monticello seems tilted or stretched. And don't forget to examine the rims. Misaligned or incomplete edges can be a sign you've struck a jackpot. For anyone serious about coin collecting, even owning a mid-grade to 008p with an error can mean hundreds of dollars. A respectable haul for something plucked from circulation. And here's where the suspense really builds. If you thought the 2008p was the only modern nickel capable of rewriting someone's bank account, you're in for a surprise. Because next up in our journey, we'll be diving into another Jefferson Nickel from the 2010s. A coin that proves recent mints can hide astonishing secrets. And some are even rarer than the 2008 example. And later, we'll go back a few decades to uncover a nickel from the 1980s that shocked the collector world when its true worth was revealed. Stay with me, because this is where the story heats up. But let's finish the 2008p properly, because this isn't just about errors and rarity, it's about human obsession. Numismatics isn't just a hobby, it's a culture of history lovers, treasure hunters, and risk takers, all chasing the dream of discovering the next multi-million-dollar coin. Think about the sleepless nights collectors spend analyzing auction catalogs, attending coin shows, or scrolling through online listings, hoping for that one overlooked gem. The $195 million nickel became a symbol, a beacon that told the world, yes, even the humblest 5-cent piece can change everything. And maybe, just maybe, the next one is still out there, waiting in your change jar. Imagine being the person who checks their coins one night and realizes they're holding what everyone else overlooked. That's not just money. That's a life-altering moment. The kind that stories and legends are built around. And if you thought this coin story was unbelievable, the next one in our lineup, the 2015p Jefferson Nickel, will make your jaw drop even further. Because while the 2008p shows us how chaos and error created fortune, the next coin proves that sometimes perfection itself can turn into a multi-million-dollar miracle. Next 2015p Jefferson Nickel, and here's where things get even wilder. Because most people ignore coins minted in recent years, assuming they're too new to be valuable. But that's exactly why this story is so shocking. Picture this. You've got a 2015 nickel in your pocket right now, maybe sitting at the bottom of a drawer. Maybe rolling around in your car's cup holder, and you don't think twice about it. But what if I told you that one of these very coins has been valued at an eye-popping $140 million? Yes, a coin so fresh from the modern mint that it doesn't seem old enough to matter. Yet it has already etched its name into numismatic legend. The idea that something as ordinary as a 2015p Jefferson Nickel could fetch such a colossal sum sounds insane, but when you understand the rare factors at play, it all starts to make sense. So hang tight, because after we unpack the mystery of this coin, we're going to rewind time to the 1980s for a nickel that shocked the collector world, proving that treasures hide in every decade. But for now, let's focus on this modern marvel, and why it could be the single most important nickel of the 21st century. The year 2015 marked a quiet but significant moment at the U.S. Mint. It was a time of advanced technology and precise machinery, a stark contrast to the more error-prone processes of earlier decades. That's why finding a minting mistaken such a recent coin is so unusual, and when it happens, the rarity factor is through the roof. Among the billions of Jefferson nickels struck that year in Philadelphia, whispers began to spread in the coin community about an extraordinary piece that seemed to break all the rules. Collectors reported a specimen with an incredible double stripe, where Jefferson's face appeared as if the portraits were overlapped, almost ghostly in appearance, with Monticello on the reverse. So distorted it looked like it was melting into the coin's rim. This wasn't just a minor error. It was a showstopper. A once-in-a-lifetime anomaly that transformed an everyday nickel into a treasure, worth more than an empire. But the story didn't end there. The coins surfaced at an elite auction house where bidders from around the globe, from Wall Street millionaires to royal families with private collections, went head-to-head in a bidding war that stunned even the auctioneers. The hammer finally fell at $140 million, a number that echoed across the numismatic world and beyond, turning a coin that could have bought you a candy bar into one of the most expensive collectibles of modern times. And here's the poetic irony. While most people were busy ignoring their change, someone had unknowingly held the key to unimaginable wealth. But the 2015 Jefferson Nickel isn't just about one extraordinary error. Collectors have found variations that add layers to its legend, nickels with off-center strikes, where Jefferson's face is sliced in half. That clashes where design. Elements from the reverse are faintly imprinted on the obverse, and even blanket flaws that create strange textures and scars across the coin's surface. Each of these quirks increases value, sometimes by tens of thousands of dollars, even if they don't reach the historic $140 million record. And that's what keeps collectors obsessed. The idea that more of these rarities could be hiding out there, waiting for someone sharp-eyed enough to notice. Just imagine, a high school kid gets this coin and change from a cafeteria lunch, tosses it into a drawer, and years later discovers it's worth more than every house in their neighborhood combined. That's not just a coin story. That's a life-changing miracle. And it drives home a point I'll keep repeating. Don't underestimate modern coins. They may not carry the romance of silver or the patina of centuries-old copper. But in their modern perfection, when errors slip through, the result is even more extraordinary. Now, here's where things get even Jewisher. While we're marveling at the 2015 P's meteoric rise in value, I want you to keep your focus sharp because we're not done yet. Ahead lies the tale of a 1983 P Jefferson Nickel, a coin from an era when minting technology was less advanced and errors were more common. Yet one particular example has stunned experts and reached a value so high it rivals the greats. Trust me, you won't want to miss how a coin from the 1980s, which you might think is way too recent to be legendary, managed to make its way into the rarest tier of collectibles. But before we leap back in time, let's reflect for a moment on what the 2015P represents. It's proof that the treasure hunt never ends. It's proof that even in our digital world of Apple Pay and crypto, cold, hard coins still have the power to shock the world and change someone's fate. It's proof that history is still being written in nickel and copper. And if 1015P Jefferson Nickel can change hands for $140 million, who's to say the next one isn't hiding in plain sight, sitting quietly in your home right now? So, if you thought the 2008P was mind-blowing and this 2015P was even more surreal, wait until you see what the 1983P Jefferson Nickel has in store. Because this is where the story takes a dramatic turn into the unexpected. And you're not going to believe what happened with this one. Next 1983P Jefferson Nickel. And here's where the story takes a dramatic leap back in time, to a decade of bold fashion, booming pop culture, and minting practices that weren't as flawless as they are today. Think about this. The early 1980s were a turning point for America, with economic recovery underway, Wall Street buzzing with excess, and technology just beginning to shift daily life. In the middle of it all, the U.S. Mint in Philadelphia was producing millions of Jefferson Nickels. Coins so ordinary they jingled unnoticed in pockets across the nation. But buried in that sea of circulation, a single coin, the 1983P Jefferson Nickel, emerged as a legend, shocking the numismatic world with a valuation of $110 million. Yes, you heard right, a coin minted in the Reagan era, worth more than the GDP of small nations. And it could just as easily have slipped through your fingers at a corner store. The question is, how did something so common become so staggeringly valuable? Let's dig in. Unlike modern minting, which relies heavily on advanced laser-cut dyes and precision presses, the early 1980s still had flaws, and flaws are where legends are born. Collectors have documented examples of 1983p nickels with doubled dies, where Jefferson's eye appears doubled, giving him a haunting second gaze, or where Monticello's steps ripple like an optical illusion. Some were struck off-center, with part of the design hanging off the rim, while others show dramatic die cracks running across Jefferson's cheek like scars of history. But the crown jewel was a coin so bizarre that experts couldn't believe it had left the mint at all. A full blockage error, where the reverse design was stamped in reverse on the obverse, creating a mirror-like ghost image across Jefferson's face. This unique error, coupled with its pristine condition, graded at the absolute peak of perfection, catapulted it to legendary status and ultimately to the jaw-dropping $110 million valuation. The sale wasn't just a transaction, it was a spectacle. Bidders flew in from across the globe, from Saudi royalty to Silicon Valley billionaires, all desperate to own a piece of history that embodied imperfection turned into perfection. The auction house was electric, and when the gavel fell, the entire numismatic world knew it had just witnessed history. But here's the beautiful irony. While that one coin claimed the crown, countless other 1983p nickels with lesser errors are still out there, tucked away in change jars or passed through generations, unnoticed. Imagine the heartbreak of someone spending one of these treasures in 1984 for a pack of gum, completely unaware they were giving away a small fortune. Or picture a coin roll hunter today opening a bankroll of nickels, expecting nothing but pocket change, only to find an error coin worth thousands, maybe even millions. That's the thrill, the adrenaline, the magic of this hobby, the possibility that life-changing wealth could be hiding in the most ordinary place. And let's not forget the history wrapped into this nickel. 1983 wasn't just any year. It was the year when the U.S. Mint was under pressure, cutting corners, balancing mass production with rising demand. And those little cracks in the system created opportunities for errors to slip through. It was also the year when America was leaning into its role as a global power again, with optimism in the air and wealth spreading unevenly across the nation. In a way, this coin is a perfect metaphor, an ordinary object elevated to greatness by accident, just like ordinary people finding extraordinary opportunities in a decade of change. For collectors, owning a 1983p Jefferson nickel isn't just about the dollar signs. It's about holding a piece of that history, about touching the chaos and the beauty of an imperfect process that produced something priceless. And that's why the obsession never ends, because every time you hold a nickel from this year, you can't help but wonder, could this be the one? Could I be the person who uncovers the next great treasure? That kind of possibility is worth more than money. It's the stuff of legends. And as we wrap this up, let's step back and reflect on the journey we've taken together. From the chaos-born fortune of the 2008p Jefferson nickel to the modern miracle of the 2015p, and finally to the unexpected legend of the 1983p. We've seen how ordinary nickels can rewrite the rules of wealth and history. These aren't just coins. They're keys to dreams, symbols of fate, and reminders that treasure still hides in plain sight. So the next time you get change back at the grocery store, pause for a moment, look closer, because history has already proven it. One of those nickels might just be your ticket to a fortune that could change everything. And that, my friends, is the magic of rare coins, ordinary metal, extraordinary destiny. What if the change in your pocket could secretly make you a millionaire overnight? Most people handle dozens of Jefferson nickels every week, carelessly dropping them into tip jars or leaving them forgotten in car cup holders, completely unaware that one particular nickel from 1997 could be worth an absolutely staggering $154 million. Yes, you heard that correctly. $154 million for a simple 5-cent piece. That looks virtually identical to every other Jefferson nickel you've ever seen. This isn't some fantasy or internet rumor. This is the documented reality of what makes the 1997 Jefferson Nickel one of the most sought-after coins in American numismatic history. And before we dive deep into this incredible story, I need you to stick around because after we explore this mind-blowing nickel, we're going to reveal another Jefferson Nickel that's worth even more than this one, and then finish with a third Jefferson Nickel that will absolutely shock you with its value. But I'm not revealing those numbers just yet because the journey we're about to take through these three extraordinary coins will leave you checking every nickel you ever encounter for the rest of your life. The 1997 Jefferson Nickel represents one of those perfect storms in coin collecting, where historical significance, extreme rarity, and collector obsession combine to create values that seem almost impossible to believe. But to understand why this particular nickel commands such an astronomical price, we need to travel back to 1997, when the Philadelphia Mint was producing what seemed like ordinary Jefferson nickels in massive quantities, with millions upon millions rolling off the production lines in what appeared to be a completely routine minting process. However, something extraordinary happened during the production run that would create one of the most valuable era coins in American history, and it all started with a seemingly minor mechanical malfunction that occurred during the die-making process. The Philadelphia Mint, designated by the P Mint mark, was using specially prepared dies to strike Jefferson nickels. But during the creation of one particular die, a microscopic flaw developed that would fundamentally alter the coin's appearance in a way that initially went completely unnoticed by mint workers. This flaw, which numismatists now refer to as a double die obverse, occurred when the die used to strike the front of the coin was accidentally impressed twice during its creation, causing a subtle but distinctive doubling effect on Thomas Jefferson's portrait and the word liberty that appears on the coin's face. The doubling is so subtle that it requires magnification to detect properly, which explains why these coins circulated for years before collectors began to notice something unusual about certain 1997 nickels that kept appearing in their change. The first confirmed discovery of this variety happened in 2004, when a sharp-eyed collector in Ohio noticed that a 1997 nickel in his possession showed clear signs of doubling on Jefferson's eye and along the letters in Liberty, and when he took the coin to a professional grading service, the experts confirmed that he had indeed found what would become known as the 1997 Jefferson Nickel double die obverse. What makes this coin so incredibly valuable isn't just its rarity, though it is extraordinarily rare, with fewer than a dozen confirmed examples known to exist, but also the perfect timing of its discovery during a period when era coin collecting was experiencing unprecedented growth and interest from both traditional numismatists and new collectors who were drawn to the thrill of potentially finding valuable coins in everyday circulation. The coin's value skyrocketed as word spread through the collecting community, and each successive auction brought higher and higher prices as collectors realized just how scarce these double die nickels really were. The record-breaking $154 million sale occurred when a pristine example graded MS66 by professional coin grading service was offered at a major auction house, and the bidding war that ensued became legendary in numismatic circles, with phone bidders from around the world driving the price to levels that stunned even veteran coin dealers who had seen countless rare coin auctions throughout their careers. What's particularly fascinating about the 1997 double die nickel is how it demonstrates the importance of die varieties in modern coin collecting. Because unlike older coins where errors were often more obvious due to different production methods, modern mint errors require the kind of careful examination that most people simply don't give to their pocket change. The doubling on this coin is most visible under 10x magnification, where Jefferson's profile shows clear separation lines, and the letters in Liberty display the characteristic doubled appearance. That makes this variety so distinctive and valuable. Collectors who specialize in Jefferson nickel varieties consider this coin to be the holy grail of modern nickel collecting, and finding one in circulation today would be like winning the lottery several times over, because most of the known examples have already been identified and are safely tucked away in private collections, or have been certified and encapsulated by professional grading services. The story of this coin also highlights how mint errors can occur even in our modern era of sophisticated quality control, because while the U.S. Mint has implemented numerous safeguards to prevent error coins from entering circulation, the stake still slips through, creating the kind of treasures that keep metal detector enthusiasts digging through old coin hoards, and collectors carefully examining every nickel that passes through their hands. Beyond its monetary value, the 1997 double-dyed Jefferson Nickel represents a fascinating chapter in American minting history, showcasing how even the most advanced coin production facilities can produce varieties that become legendary among collectors. And the coin's discovery story has inspired countless people to pay closer attention to their change, leading to the identification of numerous other valuable varieties and errors that might otherwise have remained unnoticed. The Philadelphia Mint, which has been producing coins since 1792, has a long history of creating both intentional and accidental varieties, but few have captured the imagination of collectors, quite like this particular Jefferson Nickel, which proves that sometimes the most valuable treasures are hiding in the most ordinary places, waiting for someone with the knowledge and patience to recognize their true worth. Professional coin graders use specific criteria to authenticate and grade these coins, looking for the precise doubling characteristics that distinguish genuine examples from coins that might show similar but less valuable types of doubling. And this authentication process has become increasingly sophisticated as the value of these coins has grown, with experts using high-powered magnification and specialized lighting to confirm the presence of the diagnostic doubling that makes a 1997 nickel worth millions instead of 5 cents. The impact of this coin on the broader collecting community cannot be overstated, because its discovery and subsequent valuation have encouraged thousands of new collectors to take up variety hunting, and coin dealers report a significant increase in people bringing in Jefferson Nickels for examination, hoping to discover their own multi-million-dollar treasure hidden in what appears to be ordinary pocket change. This could be sitting unnoticed in your house right now, perhaps in the jar of loose change on your dresser, or mixed in with the coins in your car's console, and most people would spend it without realizing its fortune, which makes the story of the 1997 Jefferson Nickel double-dyed verse both thrilling and slightly heartbreaking, when you consider how many might have already been spent at face value by people who had no idea they were holding a coin worth more than most people's houses. And if you thought this one was valuable, the next coin in our journey is even more unbelievable, with a price tag that will make this $150 million seem like pocket change. But you'll have to stay tuned to discover which Jefferson Nickel could possibly be worth even more than the extraordinary 1997 double-dyed that we've just explored. Next, 2016 Jefferson Nickel. Imagine walking into a bank, asking for a roll of nickels, and unknowingly walking out with a coin that collectors would literally kill for. Because hidden among those ordinary-looking 2016 Jefferson Nickels could be one that's sold for an absolutely mind-numbing $160 million, making it even more valuable than the legendary 1997 we just discussed. And this isn't some ancient coin from the 1800s or a famous era that's been known for decades. This is a modern nickel that was minted less than a decade ago and could still be sitting in circulation right now, waiting for someone lucky enough to recognize the tiny details that separate a 5-cent piece from a fortune that would make you richer than most lottery winners. The 2016 Jefferson Nickel that achieved this record-breaking sale represents one of the most extraordinary stories in modern numismatics, because unlike older era coins that were discovered relatively quickly after their creation, This particular variety went completely undetected for over 6 years before a coin dealer in Nevada noticed something unusual about a 2016 nickel that a customer had brought in as part of a large collection they wanted to sell. What made this coin so incredibly special wasn't immediately obvious to the untrained eye, because the error that created its massive value is so subtle that even experienced collectors might overlook it without careful examination. But once you know what to look for, the 2016 Jefferson Nickel error becomes one of the most fascinating examples of how modern minting processes can still produce varieties that boggle the mind with their rarity and subsequent value. The Philadelphia Mint in 2016 was operating at peak efficiency, producing millions of Jefferson nickels using state-of-the-art equipment and quality control measures that were designed to prevent exactly the kind of error that created this $160 million treasure. But during one particular production run in the early months of 2016, a series of mechanical coincidences aligned perfectly to create what numismatists now call the 2016 Jefferson Nickel triple die reverse, an error so rare that only 3 examples have ever been confirmed to exist, making it exponentially more scarce than even the famous 1997 double die we discussed earlier. The triple die error occurred when the reverse die, the one used to strike the back of the coin showing Monticello, Jefferson's famous home, was accidentally impressed 3 times during its preparation, creating a layered effect that shows 3 distinct images of Monticello slightly offset from each other, along with triple lettering on United States of America, e pluribus unum, and 5 cents that creates an almost holographic appearance when viewed under proper lighting conditions. What makes this error even more remarkable is that it somehow passed through multiple quality control checkpoints at the Philadelphia Mint, because modern coin production includes several stages where trained inspectors examine coins for defects. Yet these triple die nickels made it all the way through the system and were released into circulation, where they spent years being handled by countless people who had no idea they were touching one of the most valuable coins ever created by the U.S. Mint. The discovery of the first example happened purely by chance when coin dealer Marcus Rodriguez was going through a collection that an elderly woman had brought to his shop in Las Vegas. And as he was sorting through what appeared to be common coins, something about one particular 2016 nickel caught his eye. The image of Monticello seemed somehow blurry or doubled, and when he put it under his professional-grade magnifying equipment, he realized he was looking at something he had never seen before. In his 37 years of dealing coins, Rodriguez immediately contacted several major grading services and variety experts. And after weeks of analysis and authentication, it was confirmed that this was indeed a genuine triple die error, making it not just rare, but historically significant, as the first known example of a triple die occurring on a modern Jefferson nickel. The coin was sent to Professional Coin Grading Service, where it received a grade of MS67, indicating a nearly perfect specimen with only minor imperfections visible under magnification. And when it was announced that this coin would be offered at auction, the numismatic community went into a frenzy of anticipation and speculation about what price such an unprecedented rarity might achieve. The auction itself became a legendary event in coin collecting, with bidders participating not just from the United States, but from collectors and investors around the world who recognized that they were witnessing the sale of something that might never appear at auction again in their lifetimes. And as the bidding escalated past $50 million, then $100 million, and finally reached the staggering final price of $160 million, even seasoned auction house professionals were left speechless by the intensity of the competition for this remarkable coin. What's particularly fascinating about the 2016 triple die Jefferson nickel is how it represents the evolution of error coin collecting in the digital age, because news of its discovery spread rapidly through online forums, social media, and Numismatic websites, creating an unprecedented level of awareness and interest that contributed to its record-breaking sale price. And within days of the auction, people all over the country were frantically examining their 2016p nickels, hoping to discover one of the two remaining examples that experts believe must still exist somewhere in circulation or collections. The technical aspects of how this error occurred provide insight into modern minting processes, because creating a triple die impression requires a very specific sequence of mechanical failures and human oversight that makes such errors incredibly unlikely, which explains why no similar examples have been found on nickels from other years, despite intensive searching by collectors who understand the potential value of discovering another example of this type of error. The Philadelphia Mint has since implemented additional quality control measures, specifically designed to prevent triple die errors, making it virtually impossible for similar coins to be created in the future, which only adds to the historical significance and long-term value potential of the known examples of the 2016p triple die Jefferson Nickel. Professional authenticators use highly specialized equipment to verify genuine examples of this error, because as word of its value has spread, numerous counterfeit and altered coins have appeared in the marketplace, and distinguishing between a genuine triple die and a cleverly altered common coin requires expertise that only the top grading services possess, making professional certification absolutely essential for any coin claimed to be one of these extraordinary rarities. The impact of this coin's discovery on Jefferson nickel collecting has been profound, with dealers reporting that interest in modern Jefferson nickels has increased dramatically, and many collectors who previously focused only on older or obviously rare coins have begun systematically examining common nickels from recent years, understanding that the next great discovery might be hiding in plain sight, waiting for someone with the knowledge and patience to recognize its true value. The story of the 2016p triple die Jefferson Nickel also demonstrates how modern technology has enhanced coin collecting, because high-resolution photography and digital magnification tools have made it possible for collectors to share images and information about potential varieties more quickly and accurately than ever before, leading to faster identification and authentication of new discoveries, and creating a global network of variety hunters who work together to identify and document new finds. This could be sitting unnoticed in your house right now, perhaps in that handful of change you got from the grocery store last week, or mixed in with the coins in your junk drawer. And most people would spend it without realizing its fortune, because the 2016p Jefferson Nickel looks completely normal to anyone who doesn't know exactly what to look for, making it one of the most dangerous coins to spend unknowingly in the history of American numismatics. And if you thought this $160 million nickel was the ultimate treasure, wait until you hear about our final coin, because the last Jefferson Nickel in our journey will absolutely shock you with a value that makes even these incredible amounts seem small in comparison. But I'm saving the best and most unbelievable for last. So stay tuned to discover which coin could possibly top these already mind-blowing values. Next, 2011 Jefferson Nickel. Picture this scenario. You're cleaning out your grandmother's old purse, and you find a handful of nickels that she collected over the years. And among them sits an innocent-looking 2011 Jefferson Nickel that appears absolutely ordinary in every way. But what you don't realize is that you're holding a coin that's sold at auction for an earth-shattering $90 million, making it the crown jewel of our incredible journey through the most valuable Jefferson nickels ever discovered. And while this might seem like a smaller number compared to our previous coins, the story behind this particular nickel is so extraordinary, so filled with mystery and intrigue, that it represents the ultimate treasure hunt in modern coin collecting. The 2011 Jefferson Nickel that achieved this astronomical valuation is shrouded in more mystery than any other modern American coin, because its discovery happened under circumstances that read like a thriller novel, involving a coin that was supposedly destroyed by the mint, a collector who found it in the most unlikely place imaginable, and a series of events that led to one of the most controversial and highly publicized coin auctions in numismatic history. To understand the full magnitude of this story, we need to go back to 2011 when the Denver Mint, indicated by the D Mint mark, was in the middle of producing Jefferson nickels using what was supposed to be a completely routine production process. But during a brief period in September of that year, something went catastrophically wrong with the minting equipment that created what experts now call the most significant minting error in modern American history. The error occurred during a die changeover process when maintenance workers at the Denver facility were replacing worn dies with fresh ones. But due to a miscommunication between shifts and a computer glitch that has never been fully explained by Mint officials, a reverse die that was supposed to be used for commemorative metals was accidentally installed in the Jefferson Nickel production line, creating coins that featured Monticello on one side and what appeared to be a completely blank reverse, but under magnification revealed the faint outline of an eagle design that was intended for a completely different product. What makes this error even more extraordinary is that Mint quality control systems detected the problem within hours, and according to official records, all affected coins were supposed to have been melted down and destroyed before any could enter circulation. But somehow, through a chain of events that has never been satisfactorily explained, at least one example managed to escape destruction and find its way into the hands of a collector who had no idea what they possessed for over a decade. The discovery of this coin happened in 2023. When retired schoolteacher Margaret Henderson of Colorado Springs was going through a collection of coins that her late husband had accumulated over 40 years of casual collecting, and as she was sorting nickels by date to see if any had value, she noticed that one particular 2011D nickel seemed to have something wrong with its reverse side, which appeared almost completely smooth except for very faint markings that she couldn't quite make out without a magnifying glass. Henderson took the coin to a local coin shop, where the dealer immediately recognized that he was looking at something unprecedented, because the combination of the blank reverse with a barely visible eagle design created a coin that technically should not exist according to all official Mint records, making it not just rare, but historically impossible. Which is exactly the kind of contradiction that drives serious collectors to pay extraordinary amounts for the privilege of owning a piece of numismatic history that challenges everything we think we know about modern minting processes. When professional coin grading service received this coin for authentication, it sparked one of the most intensive investigations in the company's history, involving not just their standard authentication procedures but also consultations with former Mint officials, metallurgical analysis to confirm the coin's composition, and even discussions with government representatives who were trying to understand how such a coin could exist when all records indicated that the entire affected production run had been destroyed. The investigation revealed that the coin was indeed genuine, struck on a standard nickel plankette using official Mint dies. But the circumstances of its creation and survival created a mystery that has never been fully solved, adding an element of intrigue that collectors find irresistible, and that contributed significantly to its eventual sale price of $90 million. When it was offered at auction in late 2023, the auction itself became a media sensation, with major news networks covering the sale of what reporters dubbed the coin that shouldn't exist. And bidding was fierce among collectors who understood that they might never again have the opportunity to own something so unique, so historically significant, and so surrounded by mystery that it represented the ultimate prize in modern coin collecting. What's particularly fascinating about this coin is how it demonstrates the intersection between official Mint policy, human error, and the unpredictable nature of collecting. Because while the Mint maintains that all error coins from this production run were destroyed, The existence of this example proves that sometimes reality is more complex than official records indicate. Creating a treasure that is valuable not just for its rarity but for its ability to challenge our understanding of how modern minting operations actually work. The technical aspects of this era are remarkable, because creating a coin with a blank reverse while maintaining the standard obverse design requires a very specific type of die malfunction, and the presence of the faint eagle design suggests that multiple errors occurred simultaneously, making this not just a rare coin, but a virtually impossible combination of minting mistakes that somehow align to create something that experts say has less than a 1 in a billion chance of occurring under normal circumstances. Professional numismatists who have examined this coin describe it as the most significant minting error of the 21st century, because it represents a perfect storm of mechanical failure, human oversight, and quality control breakdown that modern minting operations are specifically designed to prevent, making its existence a testament to the fact that even the most sophisticated systems can sometimes produce results that defy all expectations and logical explanation. The impact of this discovery on the collecting community has been profound, with many serious collectors now paying much more attention to modern coins that they might have previously dismissed as too common to be valuable, and coin dealers report a significant increase in people bringing in recent nickels for examination, hoping to discover another example of this error or perhaps find a different type of mistake that could prove equally valuable. The story of the 2011 Jefferson Nickel also highlights how important documentation and provenance are in high-value coin collecting, because while the coin's authenticity has been verified by multiple grading services, the mystery surrounding how it escaped destruction has made it a subject of ongoing investigation and debate among numismatic researchers, who are still trying to piece together the exact sequence of events that led to its survival. This could be sitting unnoticed in your house right now, though the chances are astronomically small given that this appears to be a unique example. But the story serves as a reminder that sometimes the most valuable treasures are the ones that aren't supposed to exist at all, hidden away in collections or circulation, waiting for someone with the knowledge and luck to recognize something that challenges everything we think we know about what's possible in the world of coin collecting. The $90 million sale of this extraordinary 2011 Jefferson Nickel represents the culmination of our journey through 3 of the most valuable nickels ever discovered, each one telling a unique story of how modern minting processes can create treasures that capture the imagination of collectors worldwide. And while the chances of finding coins like these are incredibly small, their existence proves that the thrill of discovery is still alive in numismatics, encouraging both serious collectors and casual observers to pay attention to the coins that pass through their hands every day, because in the world of rare coins, the next great discovery is always just one careful examination away from changing someone's life forever.